I have a dream, oh, I have a dream. Red, white, and blue, fly free, fly free. I believe, oh, I believe. Will you dream with me?
Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to Changing Times. It is Wednesday, January 24th. We are live at the Axe Media Group headquarters in Springfield, Missouri. The weather is much better today than it was last week, and we hope that you all enjoy this show. We have a great show coming up, and you might want to take pencil and paper out now. And because we've got Jerry Angelo and Kate Angelo, pastors, and they actually have a thriving practice that they help people about marriages, Vanguard Marriage and Family Advocates. And we've had Jerry, you on before. Kate, have you been on before?
Yeah, I've been on
I think
before.
one time at least. And so really, really good people. We are going to be talking about marriage and everything about marriage because February 7th through February 14th is National, not just Missouri, National Marriage Week. That has to be pretty important for that to be actually proclaimed as a national week. And so we're going to talk about that and share some ideas. And as always, this show is about social issues, social causes, positive solutions at the end. And you're going to see that because obviously marriage, the institution of marriage, the importance of keeping that family together, the family unit, is a social issue. And so you all have a social cause. So I appreciate that. So to get started, let's just kind of find out a little bit about you all. And Kate, I'm going to start out with you. So just tell me a little bit about what you and Jerry do with Vanguard Marriage, but then I want to make sure this lady is very talented. Now, Jerry's written books too, and they've co-written books, but she's got a book. She's got a book signing that's coming out, and every time I find somebody that's written a book, we definitely, Don and I always wanted, Don wrote a book 2 years ago in December and published a book, and I know she'll publish some more books too. So tell us a little bit about yourself and then your books.
All right. Well, so I grew up in the Southwest Missouri area after moving here from Houston, Texas, and I actually aged out of foster care. And so that became a driving force for me to understand that families are sometimes dysfunctional. Sometimes it's a generational curse. They just don't know what they don't know, the skills they don't know any other way. And so before I even met Jerry, when I came to know the Lord, I felt very passionate about helping to fix these relationships and to teach skills to fix relationships. We say all the time, you get more education on how to drive a car, on how to balance your checkbook than you do to be married, to have a relational skill. And we know that people who have great relation skills also perform better in the workplace. So sometimes your technical skill or your actual intelligence isn't nearly as important as your ability to relate to someone. And so that's why it became important to us to develop our nonprofit, where we work diligently to provide resources to strengthen and encourage marriages and family. And then we also bring in the political side of things so that we can stay on watching if there's anything that might affect the marriages, affect the family. Is there anything that we can do to provide, to do cost savings, to provide? So we're not lobbyists or anything like that, but we're just definitely staying in touch with people. So that's the majority of what we do with Vanguard. And then, as you said, I'm also an author, and I write Christian fiction and I write romantic suspense books. For a while, I was like, Lord, why'd you call me to do this? Why'd you call me to do fiction and romantic suspense? And I kind of joke that I'm not even that like the romantic one in our relationship. Jerry's the romantic one. And the Lord just said, this is how Jesus taught people, through stories. He taught them through stories. So in my stories, the people come from painful pasts. They learn that through God, he can heal these wounds that they have. And then it sets them on the course to have a healthy relationship. And so of course it's fictionalized and a little over the top sometimes.
Well,
but,
Kate, that's awesome. So The name of this book, you're having a book signing, when and where?
Yes, so we're going to have a book signing. I'll be with Lynette Eason, who is also a USA Today bestselling author, and she's going to be signing her new book called Double Take, which is a new series. And then I'll be signing. I currently have 3 books out. You'll also be able to pre-order my next book that's coming out called Vanishing Legacy. So they'll have all of my books there at
Wow.
CPO. You can purchase them and sign them, or you can bring anything else that I've written.
So at CPO in Springfield, Missouri,
Yes.
and when is it?
February 2nd.
February 2nd.
Starting at 11 a.m. till 1 p.m.
That's a Saturday.
Yes.
Saturday.
Oh, actually, it's a Friday. Sorry.
Oh, Friday, February the 2nd from
11 a.m. to
11 a.m. to 1.
Yep. It's come and go.
So if you're in the Springfield area, anywhere in Southwest Missouri, I would encourage you to go and check out this young lady's books. I mean, obviously, really proud of you.
Thank you.
You know, it's just an awesome thing. And I'm glad you mentioned foster. You were a foster child, because one of the programs we've got scheduled either in late February or early March is about the foster children program. We have a lot of kids that need foster parents, but we have more kids than we have parents that's wanting to do that right now. And so we're going to be talking about, that's a crisis. That's an issue that we have to deal with in Missouri. And I'm sure other states are just like that. We have people all today watching from all 50 states and around the world. We have other countries watching in today. And I'm sure the issue we're going to be talking about today is going to be everywhere, unfortunately.
You know, Lynn, Kate, as she mentioned earlier about her aging out of the foster care system, has been kind of a driving force for us in our marriage. And we adopted a child out of the foster care system. And I think that there's an interesting statistic there that a lot of people don't know. And these aren't exact numbers, but of all the children that are in the foster care system in the state of Missouri, there's one church that could match up a child. And if every church would sponsor or adopt a child, we would empty all of the children that are waiting. We'd empty that waiting period overnight. All of the kids would have a place to be. And so I always think about that who is that one couple in this church that could take a child and take them out of that situation and provide a loving home. So it's something to think about.
Yeah, I tell you what, that would be a great thing for someone to do that's watching today. Think about it. Jan and I have, even in our older age, we've talked about it before. When we hear about stories about children needing someone, needing a family, needing foster parents, that we've even talked about doing that, helping a child out. I think we're kind of aging out now. So,
that's what happened to me, though, is that when I was in Bolivar, that there weren't any foster homes. And so it wasn't even a licensed foster person who took me in. It was a friend. Her parents said, hey, we can do this. And so they helped them get the training. And then they helped them to where that they, so that I could stay there. And that's what teenagers need. They need somebody, they need structure and discipline and they need tools and skills. And so even if you're just doing it for a weekend, as to provide respite, they need the seeds planted in them that can grow later on. And that's what I got. So.
Got good friends down in Christian County, Dogwood Ranch, and they have foster a farm with foster children, and it's girls. And then what they did was in Missouri, when they're 18, they age out. And most 18-year-old kids, whether it be a boy or girl, really aren't ready to go out on their own. And that's when they get in trouble, because we don't have a safety net for them after they what I call graduate from the program. And so that's a problem. And so they went ahead and built 2 small homes, tiny homes, that 2 girls could be in each home. So that would take care of 4 of them. So as they were aging out their girls, they would then have them in those little homes where they learn how to cook and keep their house clean and get a job and help them buy a car. And then they can stay there 2 years, but they have to pay a little rent. I mean, it's just like life. You gotta pay for your expenses. A really good learning thing, a real safety net. And these girls they keep doing this now, and they've really been successful in getting these girls out there with a job, and then doing a lot better than they would have before.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's good. And another thing I thought about, and then we'll get to our next question or comment. So, all of us, and I want to make sure the audience knows this, everybody's watching you at some time of the day. I mean, you are a role model. You can be a bad role model. You can be an average role model. You can be a good role model. I've heard athletes that were kind of bad role models. They say, well, I'm not a role model for anybody. But no, you are. People, kids, you don't know who's watching you. And so it's kind of like marriage. Marriage is so important because if you've got a good marriage, then you're probably going to be a good role model to your kids. But if you're not having a good marriage, your relationship is not good, you're probably going to set a bad example for your kids that will scar them either way, good or bad. It's going to affect them as they get old enough to be married someday, and they may repeat the same things that their parents did if it was bad. So hey, Jerry, let's talk about the importance of marriage in our society.
Sure. A lot of experts would agree that the way that the family unit or the marriage in a home goes is an indicator of how our society is going. And it's no wonder, I think, at this point where we have nearly half of all first marriages fail. And now we're seeing all of these scourges on our society with fatherlessness and homelessness and the crime and just a breakdown of our society little by little over the years. I mean, you don't have to turn the news on very long to hear some heartbreaking story about what's happening in our society. And I believe it's because that we're having problems in our own homes, and that single unit just touches so many areas of society. And again, there's also statistics that show that strong marriages lead to strong families and strong communities. And if we can inspire that as a whole, we could transform our state or our nation just by utilizing good relationship skills in our own home. We can start there, and again, that's one of the things that we're trying to do is before we met and got married, we were never really taught good emotionally intelligent skills for relationships. We're kind of winging it just like everybody else. You get education in so many areas of life. This is an area you don't get education in the area of relationship, and so we've had broken families in our situation, and we've been married almost 20 years now, coming up close on to that, but before we got married, the pain that we went through in a broken relationship was motivation. Instead of taking that pain and being bitter, we use that as a motivation to do something good in our ministry. So we took that pain and we turned it into a passion to do good for others. And when we met, we had that similar idea of we want to do a better job of that. So we invested our time and our money into getting credentialed and learning about the Lord and what He says about relationship. And so we were doing that even through some of our struggles that we were still going through. And anyway, the Lord just used that time to really work on us and teach us and provide wisdom. And He put a lot of amazing folks in our path. Some of them, and they've just been great partners with us in our ministry. And so we want to share what we've learned, what the Lord has given us. We want to share that with others, and that's our passion is to share the skills and the concepts that we've learned, so that everyone else can have a strong marriage and family.
And if I can add on to that just a little bit, is that, to kind of destigmatize the fact that great marriages don't just happen. You don't just marry somebody who's automatically amazing. That you work together. You guys have been married for a long time.
42 years this
42
August.
years. Yeah. And I'm sure that you've had your challenges and you've learned, communication. And
We still have our
give.
challenges.
Yeah.
I think is, yeah, but you get smart and you kind of avoid some of those challenges.
Right.
Yeah, your wife's always right. So we're downsizing our home right now. So if you ever do that and you're going from a large home to a much smaller home, and just simplifying our life, that's still a little complicated. Okay. And so as your wife is remodeling your new place, just let her do it. And because everything's going to look just perfect. Okay. So I was trying to given some comments about it. And then I hurt her feelings one night. And then I thought, well, this is really stupid. And so we went to bed, not feeling as good as toward each other as we needed to. And you don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you're exactly right. Well, we'll get to it later on. So facts and figures. I know, Jerry, you got some interesting facts and figures because even in our proclamation, I want to show the people that we're going to talk about that in a minute, but I just want to go ahead and while I had that on my mind, we've got a proclamation that the Christian County Commission did, maybe I got it.
Well, I've got one right here.
Oh, okay.
Lynn,
okay, maybe that's it. So anyway, we're going to talk about this in a minute, but this is really important. I think this is a statement. Why would the commission, 3 commissioners that run the county of 84,000 people, why would they do this? Well, I was proud to do this as the leader of the county and to make a statement about the importance of marriage. It actually has something to do with the way a county government works, mm-hmm. and the happiness of our employees and success of our employees and the citizens. And so that's why we did that. But let's talk about some other facts and numbers, figures that I think are interesting.
Sure. And I want to say thank you, Lynn, for leading your county with your fellow commissioners. Yeah. And I'm very thankful and grateful and humbled that you would do that for a second year in a row now. And I'm also thankful that you recognize the importance of marriage and you're doing that service for the people that you're leading. But a couple of things. We're affiliated with a group that did a study in Florida, and they found that the estimated public cost for every divorce was over $31,000 per couple. And so they decided to invest about $900,000 a year, every year for 3 years in their community marriage initiative back in 2017. And they were able to reduce the divorce rate by 28%. And when you take all the people and you reduce that divorce rate by 28%, they came up with a figure that they saved the taxpayers about $28.4 million.
That's absolutely huge.
Yes.
And that's
$31,000. That's taxpayer money and resources that are going to a failed marriage. What if we flip that around like they did? And we and not even invest that much. Mm-hmm. They invested $1 per person for 3 years, right? Just $1 per person for 3 years, and they took those programs and they reduced the divorce rate by 28%. And so and
it's been replicated, right?
Yeah,
this has been replicated,
and they've
places.
replicated that. A little bit of variance there, depending on the culture and the location, but their goal is to significantly reduce the divorce rate. And that's our goal too, because we're partnered with them and we are investing in the community and we want to see those kinds of numbers too. And so we're working on doing that, and we're excited by a lot of the opportunities. And this proclamation is just the beginning. Okay. This is us providing awareness to National Marriage Week, right? And we want everybody to know about it and what and why we're celebrating it. And so that's why we do this proclamation. But there are other things that we're planning, other education opportunities, training opportunities, training other people to serve other couples. And we'll probably talk about that in just a moment. But we wrote this proclamation, and if you wouldn't mind, I might read a couple of lines on here.
That's fine.
We believe that marriage is the foundational relationship for all of society, and good marriages are the bedrock of strong societies, and they're also the foundation for strong families. And marriage continues to be the most popular voluntary institution that in over 90% of individuals in our society are going to marry at least once. And based on based on a wealth of academic research, married people tend to have healthier lifestyles, they live longer, they have more satisfying sexual relationships, they have more wealth and economic assets, and their children do better academically and emotionally. And the cost of divorce, we mentioned that it has a significant negative impact on our society. But when you support and encourage strong marriage, every unit of that investment brings a positive multifold return in our society. And I could go on there, but in the Bible, it says in God's word that Hebrews 13:4 said that the marriage should be honored by all, and that's everybody, not just married people, but everyone, because the benefit of marriage does benefit everyone. And when we honor marriage, even if we're not married, that is a blessing that the Lord will bestow on everyone who honors marriage.
Yeah. I tell you what, that's amazing. It's going to be time to take a break, and so I hope you got a pencil and paper out, because what I'm going to tell you doesn't just always affects just Southwest Missouri. There may be other states that are watching in today, and we might be able to help you with some things. So our first sponsor is Brad Pistow. He is a certified fiduciary financial planner located right in Ozark, Missouri. He is the president of Trinity Financial Services and Insurance, and he is probably one of the best, absolutely one of the best financial planners for retirement. He's written a couple books. First book was a best-selling retirement book by Amazon, sold many thousands and thousands and thousands of copies. It was called Safe Money Matters. He followed up a year ago with a book called Bulletproof, continuing the things that he teaches. He's licensed in 3 states, and he also has people that he works with in all 50 states. He's a contributor on a regular basis with USA Today on the financial section about retirement, and that's how I first met him, is when Jan and I were in Florida at our place, and I was sitting at a restaurant that morning, and it was just God planned work, because I was talking and praying about that we had to put all our money that we had made over all the years with our company, and we needed to put it, because we were selling our company, and we had to take it out and our 401ks and put it somewhere quickly. And so we didn't know what to do. And then I read this article while we're sitting there, and I say, this is the type of guy that we need to meet. I don't know where this guy's from, but we need to meet him. And then I go back to Ozark, Missouri, very next week, and I'm eating at a little Sands Cafe in Ozark, this little mom and pop place. And these 3 older gentlemen are talking about Brad Pistow. But I thought it was Brad Pistol. I didn't know who he was. And so I was eavesdropping. You're not supposed to eavesdrop, but I did. And I heard them say that he's in Ozark, and that just got me excited. I asked them about him, and they said they all use them, and so we use them, and a lot of my family members use them. And he has plans where you'll never run out of money before you run out of life, and I don't have to worry about the stock market. It is up now, and thank goodness for all those investors, but it's been down a lot. And who knows, they're still predicting a crash someday. And then if you're at the wrong time, you're going to lose everything for your retirement planning. So he's really good. I'd highly recommend him. 417-581-9222, 417-581-9222. And they'll send you a book. They'll send you information, and I bet you he can help you. Just let him know Lynn Morris sent you. Okay, our next sponsor, Springfield Nissan, Springfield Kia. That's John Whittaker. John comes on our show just as Brad does, and a couple times a year, and lets you know what they're doing. This guy has been in the car business for a long, long time. They're about 45 years in Southwest Missouri. One of the oldest, established car dealers in Southwest Missouri. And I bought my last 2 cars from John Youngblood, John Whittaker, and I will continue to buy one because not only do they have great cars, they also have tremendous service. And so I'll continue to buy one. But their phone number, and they're located on South Campbell in Springfield, Missouri. New cars on one side, used cars on the other side of the street, South Campbell in Springfield, Missouri. And they not just specialize in used cars, they specialize in certified used cars. It's a little bit more expensive than just a used car, but it will go down the road many, many more miles without any type of issue. So if you can't afford to buy a certified used car, it's probably better to do that. It'll save you money from buying a new car. And their phone number is 882-3838. So 417-882-3838. So that's our sponsors, and we're going to get right back into our show. So let's talk about, you got any more facts and figures? Because I got one I want to give out too. So
Sure.
You got another one?
Yeah, I did want to mention that this marriage proclamation that your commission has signed and took a stand for marriage for Christian County. Greene County has also taken that step for a second year in a row, and we're very thankful for that. And we've also been talking with several other counties in Missouri, and it's been very helpful. And we've also talked with Secretary Ashcroft's office, and they are going to be taking a stand for marriage as well. But not only the leadership in Missouri are doing this, and we're adding more and more signers daily, is we've been talking with multiple states, and we were in Oklahoma last week, and we were at a banquet with Governor Kevin Stitt there, and he announced that he would be signing a marriage proclamation for the state of Oklahoma. And then right after that, we met with the third largest city in Oklahoma, Broken Arrow, and their mayor took a stand and said that she wanted to sign one as well. And so, Missouri, Oklahoma, Mississippi is looking at doing this as well, and Texas and other states. And so I'm thrilled that everyone is recognizing the importance of marriage, and they're taking a stand for marriage, and praying that the Lord is going to bless all of those who are getting involved in this movement, and thankful for that.
Well, you guys, both of you, as I've told Jerry before, and Kate, I'm sure I told you too. Don and I always said, in the very first of shows 2.5 years ago, I just came up, God told me to say this, you're difference makers. You guys are difference makers. You can be a difference maker out there too. You can watch and hear what Jerry and Kate are doing about marriage in our country, and you could do the same thing. You could help restore marriages, make marriages stronger, and it'd be a great thing. Then Dawn always would say, she added to it, and she would say, being the change. And then I got to thinking about that. Well, yeah, that's even a more powerful person. They're really doing something good for other people. And that's what we should all do, is try to do good things for other people. And so you guys are exactly there. Well, last night when I was doing some research on marriage, I found this interesting article. I didn't know that trust would be the most important thing. This one research article I was looking at last night, they had love and they had financial security. They had all that fits together in marriage. Okay. There's a lot of reasons why you get married, but I always thought maybe love, or they had listed all these things, 8 different categories, but according to this research poll that they did, trust was the number one reason why people marry and they stay married, is trust. And so I would also add communication. I mean, one of the things I think that's failing in everything we do, whether it be school or work or our family life at home, whatever, I think a lot of people fail to communicate. And it's now we've got lots of distractions. We've got our cell phones, we've got video games, we've got everything. And just look the next time that you go out to eat and see how many people have got their cell phones across the husband and wife or the kids, and nobody's talking to each other. And nobody, if you're not talking, you're not listening. And so that's a real problem.
You mentioned trust being a strong factor, and I'm not surprised because in order to have trust, that's a byproduct of relationship. And in order to have trust, you have to invest your time, and you don't just get trust immediately. That comes over time, and as you're building that in the relationship, you have that trust. And also when it comes to communication, I know a lot of people will say, what's the top reason for divorce? And a lot of people, some of them say finances, some of them say communication, and some of them say other things. And I really believe if you scratch a little more below that layer, it's an element of selfishness that leads to those things, right? If you're selfish with your money, you're going to have a breakdown in your relationship. If you're selfish in your communication, a lot of people don't think that you can be selfish in your communication. I could be talking to you, Lynn, and I just want to tell you in my own way, and you need to hear it. But a lot of people, when someone is talking to them, they're selfish about it, and they're just waiting to respond to the next thing. They're not really being an active listener and being empathetic, and just skills like that are the skills that we want to help other people in those areas of communication, and just learning how to put your spouse first or someone else ahead of you, and just seeing the dramatic change in that relationship just when they do a couple of little things. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised that trust is there. Communication was brought up in that article. And that's a very common way.
Well, very good. Hey, so we're kind of getting ready to wrap up. So, hey, Kate, you got, and Jerry, both of you, so you got new projects. You got projects going on. When I went to your house one night, I was listening to you all talk. You had a great group of people over there that night, and Jan, I enjoyed it. And but you got projects. You're going out there, and not because you can't reach everybody, just yourself. And it's kind of like Jesus. That's why he got all his disciples, because he couldn't be everywhere, but he taught other people what he believed, and then they went out and shared it. And that's what you guys are doing with some of your projects. You're teaching other couples, and so.
Sure. Yeah. We have, just interest of time, we'll mention a few. One of the ones lately is Adventures in Marriage. That is a project that we're working on, and we're looking for partners and faith-based partners and churches or even schools, anybody that wants to help us teach people how to build strong relationships. And that project is, we were just talking with some of the leadership of that group last night, and very encouraged. And so we're looking forward to that. And there's another one, Family IDs. We're working with them out of Oklahoma. And then, of course, we put on our own marriage conferences and trainings and whatnot. And so we're like you said, we're constantly working on these projects, looking for leaders that can help us, looking for partners that can help us. And to be honest, Lynn, we're also looking for financial resources. And we were just talking about this last night. One of our needs is in order to train a couple into one of these systems, whether it's travel or the training, or spending the weekend, in a hotel, and then the cost of the training itself. We were looking at it's about $2,000 to train a couple in that system that can be deployed into helping other people. And so that's a financial need that we have. We have some couples that we need to train. We have some things that, some costs that we're incurring, and we're a nonprofit. And so, we're not selling anything. We run strictly off of donations and gifts like that. And so we have a need for that. We have other needs of resources and partners, but that is definitely a real need that we have. And so we would love if anyone out there, if the Lord is tugging on their heart, whether they just want to get involved, or if they want to be a resource, or if they want to donate, we'd love them to help give them the opportunity to be blessed in that way.
So, Jerry, how do people find out more? How do they find you? What's the best way?
Sure. Probably the easiest way is to go to marriageminute.org. And on the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a little donate button, and that takes you to our nonprofit. And then there's some directions there on how you can make a donation online, or if you'd rather just send it to us, there's an address there. You could send a check if you'd rather do that. But those donations those proceeds are tax deductible, and since we're an authorized 501c3, so you'll get double blessed. It's a tax deduction for you, and also that investment that you're doing is going to go and help other couples. And the Lord says your heart is where your treasure is, right? And if you put some treasure there, then that's just a confirmation that we know that your heart is with these couples, and this is an effective way that you can do to help them.
Well, I tell you what, that's great. So I'm hoping and praying that there'll be someone out there, or someone's out there that's watching today that understands the importance of marriage. Maybe it's someone that has a great marriage. Maybe it's someone that's struggling. Don't give up. Marriage is worth saving, but it takes two people. You can't save the marriage by just one person, I believe. I just think it has to be a combination of two people, plus the third person, that would be God, or Jesus, and that's God. And so you need that person in there too. You have a lot better success rate
Sure.
of marriage if you are a believer. I really believe that. I mean, I think to myself at my age that if I was a non-believer, I'm not sure that I would stay married that long. I don't know. I just think all the obstacles that I've overcome through God that I could see where they'd give up.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people out there without hope today.
Sure, and let's
And
not forgo the power of prayer. That we also need that.
That's what I was
We
going to
need-
ask you. Prayer is
Yeah.
We need prayer partners to be
Yeah.
praying for us, for our marriage, for our family, just like everybody else, and then also for our ministry. That that the Lord continue to bless us and open doors of opportunity, and to reach those couples that do need the help. And you hit the nail on the head there, Lynn. If you don't have a relationship with the Lord, you're kind of at a disadvantage in that marriage. You might get lucky and you might do well, but when you are in partnership with the Lord, when your relationship with God comes first and is strong, He imparts that identity in you, and He casts a vision, and you walk in purpose not only for yourself, but then He gives an identity in your marriage. And it bonds you together, right? That cord of three strands is not easily broken, but then He casts a vision for your marriage, and He gives it a purpose. And so I think, in a lot of times when you're struggling, that identity and that purpose that He gives you, not that you've created, but that He imparts on you, is going to be one of the most powerful things that's going to help you through those hard times.
Yeah, I agree. I tell you what, and honestly, if you're not a Christian and you don't have Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, I believe it's like your hands are tied. So you want to go around living life with your hands tied, maybe tied behind your back. You can still walk and you can kind of do some things, but you can't do everything. And so unless you have the Lord on your side that's walking with you the entire time, I would say life is pretty tough. And so hopefully, as I've been seeing at my church where I go to church, we had 212 people that went forward in two services last Sunday. 212. And we've had, I'm going to try to get Pastor John and his wife over to our show sometime this spring. In the last 2 years, we've had over 2,200 and some odd healings, miracle healings that our church, and a lot of churches and a lot of people's lives have different seasons, where you have a good season and maybe, some people would say winter's a bad season. Well, I tell you what, our church is experiencing that. And as we've had tremendous, important people that have had millions of people on podcasts. We had a lady from North Carolina that had hers was miracles and healings, and she had millions of people on it. And so we had her zoomed in, and she gave such a great testimony of all the things, because it's not what she's
Right.
knows. It's all these people coming and sending her things and talking live on her podcast about what they experienced.
Yeah.
So that's
When-
amazing.
And that's the same thing with our marriage ministry. It's not what we can do
Yeah.
for them. It's, how can we give you the tools that you need so that you can have a healthier marriage?
Yeah.
And so, we just encourage anyone who, we have couples waiting for training. And so anyone who is interested in sponsoring those couples to get that training, they can come and talk to us about that. They can go to marriageminute.org, like Jerry said, and look at how they can sponsor a couple to get some of this training that they need. So, because we can't do it all this training and all this teaching, we would love to have people who this is their heart. This is what the Lord has called them to do as well. And they want to go out and teach and train. So,
And Lynn, if there's a church out there or a pastor that they want to help, they need help building a strong marriage ministry, or if there's leaders out there in the community, we don't have to do it in a church. We can do it in a library. We can do it in a business. We've done some emotional intelligence training at Bass Pro before for the employees. And so we are creative in finding ways to help marriages and families. And so if that's something that is a purpose that the Lord's tugging on your heart, please contact us through marriageminute.org, and we'd love to discuss some options on how we can help reach the community.
Well, I tell you what, I appreciate you all being here today. Like I said, you guys are difference makers. You're being the change. I hope other people have learned that and know how important marriage is. I just want to continue to always focus on marriage, because unfortunately our country has a lot of enemies, and we have a lot of enemies within our country. Our own federal government, our state government, I noticed that as a state representative that if you want to get on Medicaid, they would encourage you to be divorced. Divorce your husband or wife, and you can get on Medicaid easier. That is absolutely wrong, because that's splitting up that family unit. And so enemies know that if they can split up a husband and wife, then they're not going to have parents to take care of their kids. And that's one of the ways that they're trying to basically take over our country and the world with a one world government, is because they know that if they can do that and they can break our faith and they can do some of these things, it will be just a matter of time. And so I think people need to always be watching out for that too. And we got to strengthen our marriage. One of the things I noticed in my research last night was people are getting they're older when they get married, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you should be more mature as you get older, and you should have more hopefully positive ideas developed that you can use as tools to be married and have a successful marriage. So maybe that's not so bad. But I did notice there's lots of things changing.
Well, to address what you were saying, the scripture that comes to mind for me is never grow weary doing good, for at a proper time you'll reap a harvest.
Yeah.
And with all the things that are happening in our society, just do what's good, right, and true. And you may not get that harvest immediately, but in the end, a good will come out of it. So never grow weary doing good.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, so that'd be a good theme today. Do something good for somebody today. You'll be blessed too. Well, next week, I appreciate you all being today, watching our show all over the country. And next week, we've got a very special guest, a friend of mine, Sarah Forjes. We've been kind of hinting. This lady is a former journalist on TV. She was a radio anchor woman, very successful career. Her husband, Ethan, is very active in Convoy of Hope up there, and he's traveling around the world taking care of people. And Sarah Forjes is a Christian Bible school teacher. She's a mom. She's an international speaker. She doesn't just speak in Missouri. She speaks around the country and around other countries. She's very highly sought out. Just a very good motivational speaker. What we're going to be talking about with Sarah next week is she's going to give all of us, including myself, she's going to give, and these fine folks here, and my producer Matt, she's going to give us some things that we need to know to make 2024 a better world for us, a better time for us this year. We want always to strive to be better and to have a better life. And so using the Bible and doing what she knows, she's going to share some great information that will make our lives better for this year. So not so many about resolutions. I quit doing resolutions. Do you guys do resolutions anymore?
We do goal setting and vision
goal
casting.
setting and vision is better, but resolutions, they don't seem to work. But this knowledge that we're going to share next week is going to help. So everyone have a great week, and we'll be back next Wednesday. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.